Hello, the good people of the world. The good people of 2 minutes ago. We're here. We're here for a big day of FACEIT action. A massive day of FACEIT action, actually. There's so many games. There's so many things to lock into. And we're going to be live in the server for all of them. All of them. I saw a lot of people enjoying the Beatles. I also saw a lot of people making snide comments about if this was music I listened to when I was young. If this was music that came out when I was but a boy. And actually, it's kind of bad, but it's kind of bad the other way. I actually didn't really listen to any much of the Beatles. Like, obviously I knew who they were, right? But I didn't really listen to a lot of the Beatles until quite recently. I actually got into the Beatles it must have been about 2019. Which, you know, some might consider a bit late to get into the Beatles. They'd been around for a while by 2019. And I had several hits. But it was back on the British Hurricane days. Hunter would always be listening to, not necessarily just the Beatles, but a lot of old music. So I'd always see it on Discord, in the, the Spotify notifier. Hunter is listening to this, so I'd check some of them out. I mean, I slowly but surely got into the Beatles. Good band! Good band! That'll be my first hot take of the day. There'll be many more hot takes to come, I'm sure. But we'll start with that hot take. We're in for a treat today. We're in for such a treat, actually. We've got so much action. And we're going to start with an absolute banger. All the way back from round 5. All the way back from round 5 we're going to start. If you can believe that, this game has been delayed. Got delayed to Wednesday just gone. But it's been delayed again. But finally, the battle between the two unbeaten teams is here. We are here for Twisted Minds against Spacestation Gaming. If I show you the standings, you'll see quite a few teams on 8 wins. And I can show you the standings. We have the power, we have the technology. We have several teams here on 8 wins. But most importantly, there are 2 teams who are on 8 wins out of 8. And that is Spacestation and that is Twisted Minds. Both teams come into this one unbeaten, and only one team can leave unbeaten. So, we'll finally get the showdown, right? I think Twisted Minds, people who have been following their action, the team have done pretty well overall. Obviously, if you go unbeaten, it's fair to say you have done pretty well. But a lot of these Twisted Minds games, if we look back at their match history, some of these were a little bit ropey. Maybe Ataraxia was a 2-0, but could have been closer. This R81 was the biggest clutch you've ever seen. We had to full hold Route 66 with Reinhardt to win this one. If you could ever imagine such a thing. So we've had to fight and scrap for a couple of these wins. And the big question remains, is this new Twisted Minds the real deal? The old Twisted Minds could be anyone. The old Twisted Minds won OWCS Stage 1. But the new Twisted Minds, there's more questions. They've got Kellen. Kellen's looked very good in all the games we've watched. But Vigilante, maybe not so much. The Vigilante Crispy backline, a lot more questions to be answered. And what better way to try and answer these questions than against the mighty SSG, right? This will be the sternest test of this backline yet. And I think there's a lot to be answered for. A lot to be answered. That makes it sound too dramatic. There's a lot of improvement, I think, still to come from the Vigilante Crispy backline. And they're going to have to be on top form today to stand a chance against SSG. SSG, also unbeaten. You can't help but talk about them as the Goliaths of EMEA right now. Stage 2 champions. They've not dropped a game yet. They had a scare against Ataraxia, but Ataraxia are also a team on the up. The big questions, I think, for SSG are, 1, how much backbone are we going to see? We've seen the Sim. We certainly saw the Sim run into issues in the OWCS Stage 2 finals against Ents. And we've seen the Sim maybe decrease in value. We saw it not work out against Ataraxia as well. How much backbone will we see? How much Psycho will we see? What comps are the teams going to play? Twisted Minds have shown us 2 main looks. The dive look for Kiri, Lucio, Winston. Obviously, Kellen, very good at Winston. You only have to look at his passport to know that. Whereas they've also played a lot of Brawl, a lot of Kellen on Reinhardt. Now, Kellen's always had a bit of a reputation. One of the better Rhines from Korea. But the problem with any kind of comps like that Are these other comps SSG are best at? Have SSG not got the best dive in EMEA? Have they not got the best Reinhardt in EMEA? So how are Twisted Minds going to approach this one? Are they going to opt into a mirror match? Do they think they can still beat them? We've seen a lot from SSG so far. We've seen their backline really cement itself as, well, as their coach claims, internationally elite. And they've certainly looked the part. We'll have to wait and see if they can stand up to the test today, but they've withstood every test so far. As we approach the match, it's probably worth reminding everyone the full schedule for today before we jump into too much more. We're going to start with SSG Twisted Minds. Then we're actually going to have a bit of a break. There's going to be a bit of downtime. So what we're going to do is we didn't finish looking at all the Once Again Crazy Raccoon VODs from the other day, the stream we had on Wednesday. So we're going to finish the Midtown from that in the break. I thought it'd be a nice way to fill the break before we continue on with our quadruple header. Quick versus New Age. Maybe not the same level of spectacle as this game, but a close game. An important game for New Age and Quick, who are battling it out. I'm going to show you where they're battling it out. They're battling it out for this 8th place spot. Look at them. Look at them. They're down here, but obviously they're joint 8th right now, but joint 8th won't do. This win is a huge swing win to take one team to 5-5 and put themselves in a good position to get top 8. And then we go back to the top. We're looking at Ents, who, rumour has it, Ents are the best team in scrims right now in EMEA. Certainly been much improved. If you watched the latest episode on Coachable, if you managed to squeeze that into your day, you would have seen Crimzo talking a little bit about that. You would have seen Chris talking about how well they've been doing in scrims as well. So we'll see them against R8 Esports, a team who have shown us a few different looks and have got themselves in a decent position. But a win against Ents would be massive for them. And then we get, what a finish we get to the day. SSG versus Ents to finish the day. Whew! Couldn't ask for more. Couldn't ask for more. A rematch of that OWCS Stage 2 final. What more could you want in a day of FACEIT action? Now, obviously, we are on delay, so we're separated by time and space as we come up to the starting point in this match. So if you do have any questions, it might be a little bit tricky for me to answer them, but if you ask any as we go along, my mods can always pick any out and I'll try and answer any of them in the break. Awesome. So we'll try and do a little bit of everything. We'll go now to the actual game itself. The FACEIT admins have very kindly got me in every lobby. Every lobby going, they've got me in. So we'll see what they lock in. Obviously, the Twisted Minds roster is not going to be much of a surprise at all. It's going to be the normal motley crew. Spacestation, there's one key roster spot we're interested in. The flex DPS spot. Is it going to be Backbone? Is it going to be Psycho? And a lot of that will depend on where the draft is. We're going to get the lineups finalized now, and then we'll go into the draft. And this will be a little bit telling, maybe in terms of which direction Twisted Minds want to take us in. Do they want dive-based maps? Do they want rule-based maps? We'll have to wait and see. My instinct for Twisted Minds is they'd rather play the Brawl ones, even against SSG, even though it's supposedly their best comp. I think it puts UB and Quartz in a position to best do the heavy lifting, and is fair to say Twisted Minds are at their best when UB and Quartz are allowed to do the heavy lifting, have all the resources, have the ability to carry. We'll have to wait and see how the draft goes. So far, what's interesting to say, actually, is a lot of the picks overlap for these teams. They're both interested in the same maps. Now, SSG, mostly ban Oasis, mostly pick Nepal, and SSG, as team number 1, will be picking the first map here as well. Important to remember. So we're going to get the Nepal ban actually coming out from them. They have banned Nepal in the past. Twisted Minds, on the other hand, mostly banned Busan, and maybe a little bit of Samoa. So both their usual bans available still. We'll choose which one they want to take off the table here. This will maybe be a little bit telling in terms of what direction they want to go. My expectation is very much they'll take Busan away. The difficulty on Busan for Twisted Minds is quite often some of the maps favour, especially Sanctuary, favour maybe a double flex look. I mean, to be fair, SSG probably aren't going to opt into a double flex look either, so they can maybe just stick it through. But no, stick to Busan, which allow Space Station for pick between Oasis and Samoa. Now, Twisted Minds normally ban Samoa. So you could take him to Samoa here, maybe put him in an area of discomfort. We'll see what SSG choose to do with this one. Oasis, obviously a map where teams probably could just lean into playing a Lucio type comp everywhere as well. I mean, to be fair, it might be, when I look at both teams, it's really possible they actually just play some sort of Lucio ground tank comp on almost all of these maps. The way the FACEIT bans work is we have to wait to the end to see all the map picks. We'll move on to Hybrid now. Twisted Minds obviously get to pick this map. They're going to ban Midtown, which is their normal ban. SSG always ban Hollywood. We'll get the same one out here. Both teams like to pick Iconwold, so that one was locked in super quick. So I imagine Twisted Minds just took Iconwold. Both teams want to play Iconwold, so let's just play Iconwold. No need to fight about it. Then Space Station ban Rialto, that's normal for them. TM normally ban Rialto or Shambali, but the interesting thing might be for Twisted Minds, do they ban Root or Shambali? Because Root is a dive map, Shambali is a brawl map. This one could be our biggest indicator yet in terms of where Twisted Minds potentially think their advantages in the series. If they ban Route 66, maybe they think some kind of Lucio ground comp is their advantage. If they ban Shambali, maybe they're trying to invite a dive matchup. One minute and 25 seconds to decide for Twisted Minds. Mabugi obviously coming into coach Twisted Minds recently. I don't think we've really watched too many Twisted Mind games since he has come in. So we'll see what kind of flair, what kind of spin or adaptations he's added to Twisted Minds. What direction he thinks they should lean in against the biggest of all dogs, SSG. Twisted Minds taking their time with this one. You saw the hybrid bans, very straightforward. Everyone very happy with those ones. It's going to be Shambali banned by Twisted Minds. Another quick pick by SSG. And it's going to be Route 66. So Oasis, Iconwold, Route 66. And we'll get ourselves in the lobby. Here we go. A seamless transition. And Psycho in the starting roster. Which you have to imagine very much means Tracer is on the cards. Tracer is on the cards. Which could mean we get a pretty much a mirror matchup. Now, Kellen Ram, generally speaking, there hasn't been a lot of Ramatra from a lot of the Korean teams historically in Overwatch League, and not all that much since OWCS kicked off and concluded in Korea either. Fearless probably the only Korean tank we've seen play a significant amount of Ram for Houston Outlaws back in the day. Kellen has played bits of it. But you have to imagine Hadi has the advantage here. Kellen and Psycho obviously reunited from their time on the New York Excelsior. A season that didn't actually go that well for them, but you have to remember there was definitely points when it was the dive meta where New York were actually a very tricky team to play. Maybe the results didn't always reflect it, but they were one of the strongest dive teams going, and I think large part to how good Kellen was at Winston and how good Psycho was at Tracer. They find themselves on different sides of the road here. We're still waiting for Yubi and Quartz to join the lobby. Thank you, QLM, for the tier 1. Appreciate it, QLM. Thank you very much for the support. I think I also missed one as well. Mike, maybe while I was in the music section of a broadcast with a gift as well. Thank you very much, Mike. And we're going to go into game here. So Oasis, do we just expect Lucio everywhere? Probably. And we're going to start on University, which means we're probably going to start with a fight on this high ground, which probably means there's an opportunity for Lucios to have a big old impact on this fight. You'll know these staircases are treacherous. Have to work around the Lucio both Lucio's going to be responsible for marking each other, limiting their impact as well.
Ready for battle.
Thank you very much, Mesopos, as well, for the tier 1. A hype train to start the day. UB will actually leave the game. Give us a brief pause. Here comes the train. Doesn't play the image though. The train somewhere out of sight. Somewhere out of sight. But it came. It came. It tried to hit me. But I survive. I survive. I survive it. You can contact the admins to unpause, but normally by the time you do that, it sort of unpaused itself anyway. So we'll wait it out with 1 minute, 10 seconds. So a chance for everyone to regather their thoughts. Kellen impersonating OBS Genji. A brief respite before we get into the showdown. Remember, the stakes are both of these teams joint at the top, along with Ents and Peps on 8 wins, but only these two teams, Twisted Minds and SSG, are unbeaten. Aiden getting roasted in chat. Being asked to take it seriously. But unfortunately, Aiden will not do it. Quartz is threatening him. It's getting heated. We expected maybe a little bit of spice in match chat here, but I don't think anyone expected both the teams to gang up on old Aiden. Hattie has now threatened his career. Quartz has taken it back, but I don't think Hattie's taken it back. Aiden's career in shambles. Psycho is going to leave the game and restart the pause. Cries of cringe. Grow up, Psycho. Keeping the people waiting. We are being thoroughly edged right now by Psycho. X smiley face. Massa saying they might be delay sniping. Surely not. Everyone knows what SSG are going to play here. They're going to play Ram, they're going to play Lucio. Surely they've gained nothing tangible from this. Psycho going to counter snipe him and see Kellen is playing the Mauga, which is not an uncommon pick for Kellen at all. We've seen him do bits of it in the past, and the nature of Mauga in this type of competition, you can play it quite aggressively. You can run in, use the overrun, stomp on in, try and connect on some valuable target. I think you can imagine it, especially in this first fight, in this area, some kind of stomp boop combo going to be very much on SSG just to try and avoid this. We'll see if they can do it. Obviously, the nature of a Mauga is if you can get yourself between the Ram and the rest of his team, you can get behind the Ram. The Ram is vulnerable when you can set up some kind of, for lack of a better word, spit roast situation. But if you can set up that spit roast situation, the Ram is very vulnerable. 5 seconds. Surely no one will leave this time. We made 2 seconds progress last time we unpaused. We'll see if we can make more than 2 seconds here. We've beaten the 2-second mark previously. This time, I think we're locking in. We're locking in. Here we go. It's all kicking off. Psycho taking a leaf out of Naga's book. will be burrowing up early. The boop is going for Crispy, but he takes a lot of damage for it. He will be okay as Psycho unburrows, drill dash into Quartz, and he's been eliminated. The rest of SSG swing, and they swarm over Twisted Minds. And it's a quick, fateful victory. We watched a little bit of this in Peps versus yesterday when they ran it on this map, mainly partly because they thought they'd maybe win anyway with Super Shy not having their full roster in. But actually, the venture proved to be very successful. The ranges, the distances, quite nice for Venture on this map, and a lot of Oasis as well. So we'll see if Psycho sticks that pick. Meanwhile, Twisted Minds are going to come through this connector side, trying to swing out pressure onto Astro. They force him back, but again, Psycho catches Quartz peeking. Psycho has one man on his mind, and that man is Quartz. Caught him in both fights here. He burrows underneath, he gets behind. He bursts out of the ground, and he drill dashes Quartz back in, out of position. If they connect that at the same time as a Sparkle or a Landon bullet or two, it can be fatal. It's been fatal 2 fights in a row here. And for now, Psycho will be marking top. The rest of SSG down on the low ground. Psycho poking out the Tracer here. The Venture does so much damage. Psycho going to try and regroup with team here. Slow and steady. Vigilante nearly has this Kiri ult. Now will be the trigger for Twisted Minds to step onto point. They're going to drop over Haddy. Window in response. Haddy's taking a lot of damage, but Crispy's the one who's got one shot. And oh, the damage through the window is too much. They clean them all up. Yubi's looking for a desperate trade. And it's all SSG all the way, and that's a good one. That winning the window versus Kitsune Rush fight. Such a big swing for the ult economy of SSG here, because even though it's just 1-for-1, the ult, in theory, the Kitsune Rush should outvalue the window, a much stronger ult, but not on this occasion. Now we have the Tectonic Shock available. Psycho can get the ground rumbling here. We're going to see the same thing. Twisted Minds with the same retake. Psycho wants to push Quartz out here. No space. Will cop a body shot and go underground. Kellen's going to take some space on point. Has to cardiac overdrive. Crispy will join him. Pocket is coming through. Cage onto Haddy. High noon back from Sparker. Pressure onto Kellen. And there's nowhere for Kellen to go. Spark will execute him. The beat is not enough. Tank advantage here. They've not given a flip, and SSG will come flooding back in. But Quartz gets one. Annihilation over the top from Haddy should seal it, though. Stops Quartz getting any more, and Haddy will clean up this fight, and it is 100-0. And I believe Psycho was the first death now for SSG in this round.
Score 1-0.
And well. Well. Psycho locking it, at least for now, and we're going to see a switch up from Twisted Minds. So they could use this one, obviously. The nice thing about some of the coughs, because you play different points, different styles of map, different geometry, you can actually play a few different comps on the first map and maybe get a feel for what you should play in the rest of the series. Obviously, the Brawl Mirror, the Malga into the Ramp did not go that great for Twisted Minds. So now they're going to try Dive, it seems, and see if that does them any better. Psycho going to be going Tracer this time. Astro will be on the high ground early. Twisted Minds will meet him with Kellen, but oh, Kellen's taken so much damage. Where did his health go? Aggression from SSG punishes Kellen straight away. Kellen wants to bubble on the choke, but no doing. No doing. Can be difficult for the dive comp before they have some of these more powerful ults up, like the Primal, like the Kitsune Rush, like the B. Kellen's going to jump onto the high ground. Vigilante with him this time. They take a bit more space. Magnetic Grenade will force Kellen to the low ground, and Haddy wants to keep on chasing. Sparks peeking there, but Crispy battling him back. But it's actually Landon who finds the first pick, tucked away in Hooker. And now they're going to pounce out. They want to try and catch as many people as they can, but Twisted Minds should be safe. Happy to farm all the ults. Landon 60% on window, Vigilante slightly over on Kitsune Rush, and we might see that same opening trade. Now, last time, Landon was able to win with the window. Kitsune Rush did not get as much value. Kellen's going to jump in again, this time behind, pushes Astro into a very scary area. Astro somehow gets out. Meanwhile, Psycho and Haddy, they punish Kellen for the jump, and it's another reset for Twisted Minds. They're going to be forced all the way back. Quartz catches Psycho. You always have to watch your head when Quartz is in the server. And that pick might help him get in for free Or at least a little bit more easily. But you have to remember Psycho's going to be coming back with Pulse Bomb mid-fight as Kellen's going to take the high ground. All of Twisted Minds will take the high ground. They push him back in. Kitsune rush over the top. Kellen wants to go through the window. He's going to keep on jumping. Chance to try and get this primal on his next jump. He's going to play it slow, though, as they just want to force through point now. They forced out Lamp. High Noon will be coming back. Kellen has to run. Still 10% on that one. SSG have kept hold of point. They're going to beat for it as well. No ults back yet from Twisted Minds. They're still charging. So they could just wait a little bit here. And now a chance for Quartz and Kellen. Overclock Primal. A chance to use these ones. They're starting to run out of time. 70% already conceded. They'll take the space. High ground now. Beat comes in. Chance for Kellen to keep going with this Primal. Spark is in the corner. Spark will die. Kellen needs to get out of there. But he will get out of there. And the Primal is good. They had to beat. They had to Primal. They overwhelm. They overwhelm him. And that disengage of the beat in the previous fight from Twisted Minds pays dividends here. Now we're going to get Quartz with the overclock. Hattie with the annihilation. Quartz can start this one as SSG move in. And the question is really, if Quartz just sits on high ground with overclock, how do SSG really deal with this? Who is responsible for stopping Quartz? Can they get the whole team to take over top? They can go, but it's scary to come out in this top doorway. They'll be hit with a boot. They'll be hit with a dive. They've actually got out for free. Twisted Minds have conceded a lot of the space. Chance to go back soon. Quartz looking to line it up. Yubi's going to get caught first, though. Now the overclock comes through. One body shot onto Landon. Another one. He's going to go over top now. Chance to rain down damage. Everyone's taking body shots, but no one's dying. They all de-peak the overclock. Hattie still has this annihilation to push with now as well. And oh! Landon takes a peek. But he will immediately be made to regret it. And now they can push in. Hattie still has this annihilation, so Twisted Minds have to be careful with how far they go. But Quartz is cleaning up. Has pressure from Psycho, but Crispy is there. The annihilation won't be used. Twisted Minds will get the flip, and 50% and counting. But all they've got now is a pulse bomb, nearly a beat. Or is it going to be Window? It's going to be Beat coming back. And it's going to be High Noon. So Window and Beat can really be used to force the objective. They can't really go through. Can't really go through without that beat timing. So Integral Crispy gets this beat. But Astro can match it here, so a difficult fight for Twisted Minds as long as Astro gets the beat off. But oh! He can't get the beat off now! And this is going to slow him down. If they get stagger kills here, it's devastating for SSG. They have to try and live. They're backing up already. Pressure onto Hattie. Look how aggressive Quartz is. They want to punish him. They force for Lamp. They're considering going. Pulse Bomb is Suzu'd. Beat to keep going, but Astro is back to meet it. They'll be okay for now, but Kellen, he's still going. They've lost Vigilante. Kellen's jump out, not quite what he wants. Does have a Primal here and catches Psycho. 92% apiece, and Kellen's going to have this Primal to try and finish it. Will get slowed, will have to pop this one. Maybe a bit sooner than he wants. Tries to go through, hindered as well, so limited, so Spark can keep peeking. Now the High Noon, Kellen can't go anymore. And a chance for Spark to walk out. He's got himself on the point, and they are keen to finish this one off. But Quartz is back soon, he's got Psycho again. Here comes Quartz. Spark desperately trying to shut him down. Desperately trying to keep this overclock away from his team. Quartz gets a couple more peaks. Slow on Quartz now, and SSG have stabilized for space. They need to touch. Kellen's going to come out with the touch. Spark still trying to hold strong. Dive onto the backline here, but here comes Hattie. Here comes Spark. They clear out Kellen. They double down and kill Spark, though it's not over yet. Kitsune Rush has given him so much damage. Twisted Mind is not over yet. Annihilation from Hattie. He's so low, he will go down. Yubi Vigilante still alive. It's a 2v2. Yubi and Psycho locked in this one, but Astro's going to try and take Vigilante away. TP to his teammate Yubi here, trying to hold on. Respawns are coming. Kellen will be back soon. Recall out from Yubi. He's vulnerable now, but he's got the big man back. Kellen will bubble on the choke, but here comes the venture from Sparker. He's going to burrow underneath point. He's going to look for the backline here. Hattie's also back on Doom. Still don't quite have the flip yet. Twisted Minds back on Echo is Quartz. Onto the high ground. Dive onto the backline. Force for TP out of Landon. Hattie is low as well. They're also low on point. Pulse Bomb's good from Yubi. And Ajax from Astro. He had to try it. He had to try it. But my God, it does not. It does not work. And a desperate fight at the end. But Twisted Minds come out clutch. And one thing that's been true with the Twisted Minds of today and the Twisted Minds of old is he never count them out in the clutch. And they'll take us to City Center. Thank you very much to Juan BBS9 for the Prime. Appreciate the support. Can bring all the FACEIT coverage to you as a result of all this support. And it's lining up as 100-0. Was worried it would maybe be a bit of a blowout after that first round. But the dive seemed to work a lot better for Twisted Minds. It was still close, but they clutched it out in the end.
3, 2, 1. Round 3. Capture the
And it will be Ram, Torb, Cass. So a variation of the comp we originally saw Falcons play on some of these maps, where they would play it with D.Va. They're going to do it with Ramatra here, but the idea is they bunker in this area. They can force point. They're hard to dislodge. They're hard to clear. Hard for Twisted Minds to really dive into that room until they have the big ults. We do see a slight variation with Quartz on the Cassidy as well. Swinging aggressively. See if he can catch anyone peeking out of this. The point will start to get forced now, but it might be a big stalemate. But Twisted Minds have to be wary because Landon and Spark, they're active, and Crispy gets caught as a result. Trying to force onto point. They've cleared Kellen. Kellen needs a lot of health back, and SSG get the first flip. The nature of how this fight often goes in this type of compositional matchup. Quartz is going to go pick up Crispy. And they're going to take it back to spawn, actually, so a Sojourn swap is the expectation here. Gives them a little bit more of an option to play a wider range to be more annoying. But now SSG have set this bunker up. They have position. They have control of a point. Hattie will anchor this for as long as he can. And Spark's actually going to swing out on this bottom side here. And he catches Vigilante again. Again, Sparker finds the opening pick. Kellen's going to have to try and jump out here. Slow to catch his exit, though. Well played by Hattie. He doesn't immediately use the slow. Chunks for damage first and then drops for slow. So Kellen has no escape. Wants to mess up his exit jump and gets to do exactly that. But Yubi and Quartz, they've traded. But this city center point is so hard to flip. Trades won't be enough. Quartz trying to drop down early. They need more picks. Kellen's going to bubble onto Hattie now. Window back, so Kellen's going to have to de-peek that. Hattie is all over him. Another slow to try and ruin Kellen's jump out. He does get away this time. And now the scary ults are coming up. Fortunately, Astro has beat to match any of this early aggression from Twisted Minds. 60% and counting. Twisted Minds kind of really need to win this fight. Bubble, but only onto the turret here. Kitsune rush onto Hattie. Pulse bomb on top of him. They want to focus down Hattie. Astro will beat back. Crispy doesn't quite have it yet to meet, but Spark gets shut down by Quartz. Astro's trying to mark Quartz now. He does take his man down, but they're so low at the choke here. They're desperately trying to pocket Hattie, and here comes the beat push now. This should overwhelm SSG. This should send them running for the hills. Astro will preserve his life. Landon and Psycho will die on point. Astro's going to come back. Die on point as well for the cause. And 90% before the flip, so it's one fight territory. One fight territory for SSG. Psycho will be back on Tracer now. The more classic version of this comp we've seen. But ult advantage on the side of Twisted Minds. Overclock, Primal. Can use these two together. Set up a bit of a shooting gallery for Quartz if you can boop anyone out. Hattie's going to have the Annihilation, but not really going to be able to connect on the backline here, so might have to use his Annihilation more as a defensive tool than an aggressive tool unless anyone gets too close. A poke out onto point. Kellen's going to jump above him here. Yubi can keep a point contested from the other side. Now they come through. Overclock over the top. They're going to force him back. SSG will try and just live this one. Hattie will block all of it. He takes a lot of damage. Wants to get on Quartz now. Pops the Annihilation. Kellen's there, though. Kellen has Primal. Nowhere for them to go, but can they just wait this out? Oh, Kellen turns his attention to his old teammate, Psycho. Might just catch him. Forces for recall. Magnetic Grenade, though. Again, Spark responsible for a crucial pick. And SSG will get themselves onto point. Twisted Minds will opt for one more retake with their main tank. Window available for Landon. Beat nearly available for Astro. Kitsune rush and Pulse Bomb. All Twisted Minds have. And Yubi goes down. No chance to use that Pulse Bomb. They have to try and make it work. Vigilante's going to have to drop this Kitsune rush as soon as he gets it. But they're windowed at choke. Kellen has to run. No Tracer to touch, so Crispy has to dive for it. Quartz will die trying to peek with his team. And Sparkle with the shutdown on everyone. Hattie will chase out the remaining players. I don't know if anyone can touch. They cannot. And SSG take the first map. Back and forth. But ultimately the city centre. The first flip was key there. We'll get the UB player for game on Tracer. This is in the desperate overtime fight. And this is the Ajax Pulse Bomb, I believe. Pressure onto Hattie. He's low. I don't think does he stick Astro? No, he sticks Hattie. And then Hattie delivers that one. First class delivery. Signed for by Astro at the door. 1 Ajax. And alright, we'll be moving on to Eichenwald, a map both teams were happy to play. What have we really learned so far? The Brawl Mirror was incredibly SSG favoured. So maybe Twisted Minds are going to be sticking the dive for the rest of this one. We saw the dive into Brawl have some success on Gardens. Gardens always actually a good map, I think, to dive. Very tricky for the ground-based comp with a high ground above point. As it is, that T-shaped junction. But even then, it was a massive dogfight, right? They had to clutch out in the end. They win the clutch. And then once we got to City Centre, it felt like SSG had a pretty good strategy for how they wanted to take that first fight. Especially, they anchored through the point, and it was very difficult. And it's kind of some of the problem you see with this dive comp. Is that you can really kill the Brawl comp, but it's your ult rotation that's the scariest bit. That's why often back in the day, you would see Anna played into a lot of these Brawl compositions because the nade gives you that sort of earlier win condition. And without that, they sort of have to rely on ults, or potentially a mistake from SSG. And we saw that on a lot of the fights where they had to give the first flip and they would lose a lot of percentage as a result. Now, you can run into the same problem at Eichenwald here, especially if you're on dive on the defense. If that's the situation you're in, you'll find yourself maybe just getting overrun if the Brawl team can find a way to rotate and get on point, which is quite possible in Eichenwald. So we'll see what Twisted Minds choose to do here. We're just getting the lineup being finalized. It says there's a substitution in play, which we would very much expect to be Psycho for Backbone, if anything. Which could mean, obviously, Sim. That's the expectation. And so far, I think it's fair to say, a couple of niche picks mixed in from SSG. We've seen mainly their Ram, Lucio, Bap comp that we all expected. But alongside of that, we've had the Venture mixed in on University. We had the Torb mixed in on City Centre. These slight twists as we're going to load into Eichenwald now. And I think we're actually still just seeing Psycho. So it's just the lineups being finalised. Yeah, Psycho's still in the roster, so Tracer is the expectation. Oh, Tracer or Venture, I guess. Could be both. Could be both, couldn't it? Venture probably feels like it's going to have a harder time on Eichenwald in terms of the distances they have to play. Generally on payload maps as well, obviously. The ability for Tracer to force point, very powerful. Maybe Venture on first is reasonable. But once we get to second, maybe that Tracer starts to look a little bit more higher value. The big question here, I think we know, is what Twisted Minds will play. The dive is where they've had more success in the series so far, but will they want to do it here? Just waiting for Astro to connect still. I think it's worth noting as well, I think some of that big difference maker on City Centre especially, the tiebreaker map, was very much Sparker. First fight, second fight, opening pick. That last fight, all the window value. Even that fight where Kellen died with Primer was the magnetic grenade that caused Kellen's death. So Spark, sitting in the bunker, going left, going right. If you're Ents, you've learnt all about Sparker's flanks. But maybe Twisted Minds learning about it now the hard way. Will be a defense start here for Twisted Minds, which I think, one, hopefully means I can get the scoreboard updated. But two means we'll get a very interesting decision about whether they stick to the dive or not. Kellen's going to go ball. We've saw us a little bit from them on the pool. And obviously when they played it on the pool, they played it against Rockstars. And Rockstars are a team not as difficult to beat as SSG right now. Maybe ever. And the ball worked wonders for them, actually. Worked wonders. They got lots of nice timings. They were hitting very early. This is something that's maybe a trademark of a lot of ball teams. You see Crazy Raccoon do the same thing here. When you have the ball, your ability to hit in early areas is quite possible. So instead of having to take maybe like the good spots like you would with a Winston or something, you can maybe even hit him here, then hit him again here. If you can force out Landon's lamp in this area before you get to this area, you're maybe in for a treat. But we're maybe in for a different sort of treat. Is Psycho He's threatening the Pharah. He thinks he's Pelican. But not today. Is he faking it? Is he faking the swap? They're waiting to see what they see. They see Ball, and that means Tracer. I think, to be fair, any dive would have been... They're actually going to go Reinhardt here, so... London vibes from this. Reinhardt, Bap, Lucio. Into dive. They're going to have to deal with the Ball, and Kellen is in the sky. Pressure onto Psycho to try and force him out. Rolling around again. Looking for his engage timing. Landon will stay tucked inside in this room. Hard to slam inside if you're the Ball. And that's what they'll aim for. They're going to try and rotate now. They poke Kellen out, and that's going to allow Landon to take a little bit of space. SSG have got themselves to point as the slam comes in, but Spark, he avoids it. He hits the magnetic grenade, and Kellen's going to take loads of damage. Has to reset, but no! Hattie catches him with a pin. I don't think that pin was intended for Kellen, but he'll take it anyway. Yubi's managed to find a counter pick in the meantime, and obviously Kellen will be back fast, as is the nature of everything Ball does. The SSG are just going to try and force point. Landon has moved to his new hidey hole atop this house, but here comes Kellen. Landon avoids the slam. Astro's going to come help his buddy mark it, but Yubi is on his BAP. The Ball's going to roll through. Lots of pressure. Landon finally lamps. He milked that for so long. Spark is now regrouping with the team. They've been forced back, but Landon dies as he windows. Quartz is going to find another one. Quartz cannot be stopped. Well, he just got stopped. Spark is good for 2. Quartz is good for 2. It's a dogfight now. Kellen's still rolling around. Spark becomes the person they need to shut down. Vigilante's pushing him. Forces him all the way out. More pressure onto Kellen. Here, Crispy finishes that one with him. They lose Vigilante. The respawns are coming. Respawns are better for the attackers here. Crispy's going to have to concede for space. And they did already have 2 ticks here, SSG. So they do manage to get in this first flip. But in theory, that should be the easier point to deal with this type of comp. And we see Kellen go on to the Winston now. All the scary ults coming up now for SSG to deal with. They're going to have to deal with this Kitsune Rush. They're going to have to deal with this beat. Even the Overclock. Astro has the beat to match, but obviously can only match one of them. Kellen's going to go behind, actually. He wants to start this fight. Pressure onto Landon. Kitsune Rush to keep going. Beat in response. I don't think Landon got it, though. Landon is in trouble. Lamp will be killed. Kellen, it might be a one-way trip for him. The whole SSG squad is behind him. But the push is good. The pin's avoided by everyone this time. And Twisted Minds will be taking this one to the SSG spawn. They used both ults there. 2 support ults for 1. It worked, gets them trapped at spawn. And one of the problems the SSG comp has is there's not as many big ults here. The beat is the big ult. They have to try and find value out of some of these trickier to use ults. The High Noon, the Window, the Shatter into this comp. Obviously, the Suzu is going to be a big limiting factor in how much Hattie can get out of this Shatter. Maybe he has to try and force it first before committing it. They'll mark point. Yubi's going to force the recall. Psycho's going to come rejoin Hattie. Just want to keep this point moving for now. Last time they went over top. This time they don't have any of the bigger ults, so they're playing a little bit slower. Spark and Astro going to try and sneak a little bit of space at the bottom here. Trying to get an angle to clear Kellen. Yubi will be holding on to the point. They're moving it slowly. Kellen's... Oh, he dropped down! He dropped down, and Spark and Landon, they unloaded into him. And now this ability to stop Car is going to disappear. They'll clear up Yubi as well. And had you seen if there was any stagger kills to get, but Twisted Minds have conceded for space. They'll be coming back now. Kellen's going to have Primal. Quartz is going to have Overclock. But now SSG with a chance to hold on to the high ground. Thank you very much, Ice, for the Prime. 2 months in a row. And SSG are flipping the map. But look at Yubi. He's tucked in behind. Here they come. High Noon in the back. But Yubi's going to demolish Landon. All his attention was on Spark. Now the Pulse Bomb onto Spark. Yubi's decimated them. 2 kills for Yubi. They'll clean up the rest, and they get that fight reset just for a Pulse Bomb. An absolute bargain for the Twisted Minds, fellas. And they'll stabilize onto the high ground. Now, this is the part of the map we see so many teams get stuck on. This tricky rotation through Castle. Can they get underneath without just running into a Primal, running into a Kitsune Rush? It's hard. We'll see how SSG try and solve this problem. Psycho's going to try and pull some attention back towards point, but Yubi can mirror any of that. Psycho's going the long way round. He'll pick up the point now. Yubi will respond. Vigilante's got a pocket in 2 different directions now, and SSG are going to try and use that attention to rotate. But they have to be careful because this Kitsune Rush is coming out from Vigilante. He's behind him, actually. Pin comes back, but they've sandwiched him here. Shatter comes through. No Suzu for Kellen, but the pocket is enough. They've squashed him in that Kitsune rush. And Vigilante will get the final blows. Aggressive from Vigilante, dropping in behind him there with the Kitsune rush. But sandwiches them perfectly in a tiny corridor. And now Twisted Minds, they can hold forward again. They've got Primal, they've got Beat. Another difficult rotation here for SSG. They tried to pin UB to point first before they rotated. Looks like they'll be doing the same here. Psycho going the long way. We'll pick up point again. Expect UB to respond. And that to be the cue for SSG to start moving. There we go. Let's see which direction SSG go this time. They want to go underneath. They want to go right side again. They're going to drop down. Quartz looks ready to go. He's ready to go home. Spark will get the shutdown. And now Spark's able to get Kellen as well. But Payload's so close as well. How do they choose here? Twisted Minds are going to die on point. Do they have a recontest? Not really. 3 on point. Do they go for it? They're not going to go for it. No Tracer to touch. And such a soft way. Such a soft way to lose it. Once again, Spark is the main man. Finds the pick. You saw Twisted Minds setting up. And now they're going to go with the overclock now, but SSG, they're quite far back. They can lamp themselves out. Spark's gone a different way in the team, though. He'll pay the price for it. And they're looking for all the cleanup kills here. Kellen is behind them. They're trapped on the Mega here. They're getting brawled from all sides. Pulse Bomb forces for Primal, and Kellen will get all the cleanup, but a Pulse Bomb for Primal trade will be one they're particularly happy with. And Kellen not quite done yet, seeing if he get his old friend Psycho. But they get that Primal out. And now they come back with Window, they come back with Beat, they come back with High Noon. But Twisted Minds, they want to hold forward, they want to hold aggressively here. They want to try and catch him. SSG might choose to come top. Clear it step by step. Only 1 minute left for them. They're onto the high ground. All of Twisted Minds are right here, though. Kitsune Rush comes through. Hattie's going to try and block, try and be forced out. Window in response, but Kellen's coming over the top. Beat to keep going. Astro just about gets the beat off thanks to that lamp. But they're still getting overwhelmed. They're still fighting on the Kitsune Rush, and Quartz will clean up all the kills. It costs them both support ults again, Twisted Minds, but they get the fight win. Psycho's going to steal a few meters, but we're into last fight territory. 30 seconds left on the clock. And all UB has is a Pulse Bomb, but I think Twisted Minds are going to try and get 2 fights out of this one. They want to go early again. SSG time is limited. They can maybe rely on Psycho to get the touch while they still try and go top. And actually, Twisted Minds are going to back up here. Want to take the fight on point, make sure it doesn't move. High Noon to start if they want SSG, then Annihilation to keep going. Pulse Bomb. Forces for Lamp. Pressure onto Hattie at the choke here. Hattie's got the Annihilation to keep walking. Twisted Minds have to give a little bit of space, wait for Kellen's next cooldowns. Annihilation now from Hattie to keep going. UB is still behind, all over Landon. They deal with him though. Astro and Landon survive. They catch Quartz at the front line, and it's now a full reset from Twisted Minds. They will have one more fight. They will have an overclock coming back from spawn. But SSG have nothing great to respond with. Crispy's going to go. The emergency Moira. And he has got one job in mind. Do not let Quartz die. Let Quartz get every bullet out of this railgun. Initial dink forces him back. Hit onto Astro as well. Can UB finish any of them? Pulse Bomb is blocked. UB can't find anything though. He's looking for the Tracer behind now. Psycho is there. They're hunting him out. One more rail. He finds the connect. Psycho will be the target again. Now the Kitsune rush back. This should be the ability to stabilize here. Astro nearly has beat, but they're 3v5. They have to force it anyway. Kellen nearly has Primal. Quartz is just gatekeeping at the back. They lived every shot except the last one here, SSG. And Twisted Minds stabilize with 1.5 meters to go. And a reasonable attack. They nearly get the full cap, but not quite. And so it's achievable. It's achievable. When you have to say that the bit of the map now SSG really got stuck on was this part of second. Even when they were retaking third, it was actually the fights here that caused them the most problems as well. And Twisted Minds comp should feel a little bit better at dealing with these high grounds given their mobility. What makes Icon Watch such an interesting map? Now, first and third points are such a brawl-favoured part of the map, and then second is very much a dive-favoured part of the map. Tricky to always swap between the two.
Ready for battle.
So we'll see what they choose to do here. No surprises maybe from the SSG side. More of the same. Ram, Cass, Bap, Tracer, Lucio. Their bread and butter. Possibly Mauga is the answer they go to now. When they played this on University, It was a big problem. A big problem. We'll see how they play it here. You be on the sim for now, but might just be a TP out of spawn angle. Don't imagine he'll keep it. Imagine he'll go Tracer as well after this one. Looks like they want to go right side early. Yubi's sticking it, actually. So eyes now on where the TP is. SSG, one of the team's most experienced playing with TP, but how will they do against TP as SSG have to then adapt already? Twisted Minds are going the long way around. They're going to get this high ground for their backline. And now roles are reversed. Twisted Minds have the usual defender's position, and Yubi and Kellen are going to take a step onto a point. They want to force it. Remember, Icon Warp caps faster, and Quartz again. TP comes through, just for an off angle though. Kellen's going to join him, just trying to focus out Hadi now. Boot back onto him. Astro's going around for the boot, wants to focus down Yubi. Vigilante responds with the Suzu, but they can't save him. Astro and Psycho get betrayed. Hadi's going to take a step forward now with Psycho. Twisted Minds trying to group back up. And everyone's going to change places again. Kellen now coming onto point with a cardiac overdrive. Stomp to get the other side of Hadi. Doesn't actually, just wants the rotation. Lamp forced onto Hadi now, but Psycho's back. He's caught Yubi. Kellen's still trying to force it. Wants to jump onto Spark. He avoids that one. A desperate attempt for a trade. Vigilante still looking for him. They concede a tick, but SSG survive. And now we'll get to the ult portion of the fights. Kitsune rush available for Vigilante. Yubi very quick on his sim wall charge as well. We'll see how they choose to approach it. Last time it was a TP behind into a full rotate to force point. Obviously, sim wall are pretty good ult. Pretty good ult for forcing point if they want to do the same. SSG trying to more actively deny the TP here. Shooting them on the left. Slow onto the choke as well. A window to TP, and Quartz has found Psycho. Quartz has done it again. Opening pick in back-to-back fights for Twisted Minds main man. And they might not even go top. They might just walk out here. Yeah, Kellen is on to point. Overrun back. Simwall means they can just wait out Nis. They're going to Kitsune rush as well. So, I don't know about the Kitsune rush. The Kitsune rush means they want to go forward. They're just going to try and focus down Hadi. Beat comes back. Crispy has the beat as well. Now they're going to try and push forward onto his annihilation. Hadi is so low. They need to find the kill on Hadi. Hadi's getting the full pocket. He will be obliterated. The overclock from Spark. He trades too, but is it enough? Landon's got the pocket. Psycho's still around as well. Spark's got free. He's got the full pocket. Kellen's going to go in for the trade, but Spark isn't scared anymore. And Spark back with the overclock. Quartz found the opening pick in both fights. But Spark found the final blow with that overclock. 1 minute, 20 seconds left on the clock. They've only got 1 tick left to gain. But now they only have... they have overclock cage. Hadi's back on Reinhardt here. So if they get caged, it's really hard to fight. Quartz starts with the overclock. Gets himself onto the high ground. Astro is trapped in there. Nowhere to go. Hadi's trying to trade, but Quartz will shut them all down. Lamp onto point now from Landon to try and trade it. But Quartz will be able to get the cleanup. And the ult advantage converted in the end. And in quite a nice fashion for Twisted Minds as well. Because... Not only do they win the fight, they only win the fight for the price of the overclock. They get to keep this cage, and now Hadi's going to go over onto the Sigma. So what the Sigma can do against the aggressive overruns in from the Mauga is he can shield off the rest of his team, he can rock the Mauga at the end of his charge, and then he can Matrix with the cardiac overdrive healing the Mauga would try and get. So a few more counterplay options with the Sigma rather than the Ram. We'll see if that comes into play. Initially... They have to worry about dealing with the Mauga and counterplay and that, but they also have to deal with these TP rotations, and Kellen is just forcing point now. Psycho will meet him on the corner. Yubi's going to come try and take an angle, just try and land a stray right click onto this Tracer to force him back. Kellen's keeping this payload tiptoeing forward for now. All of us just get the angle. TP above them, though. Here's the window back. Simwall on top. Kellen with a huge stomp. He crushes Landon. He crushes Spark. And now Hadi is the last person on this high ground. Psycho's looking for a trade. Desperate for it. But Quartz will live. As will Psycho. But Twisted Minds will keep this payload moving. Cage still available for Kellen. They have the beat as well. Astro nearly has the beat to match. Not an awful fight to take in Cage, but it's still a tricky one. Look how close the payload is. Symbol behind him here. Cage on top. Psycho's out of the cage. Beat in now. Crispy has the beat back. They'll all be okay, and they're going to try and pile onto Hattie. They're just trying to force him down. Quartz with the overclock now. There's the final blow. And Quartz has been lethal today. Spark's overclock gets 1 in retaliation, but it's not enough. And now, all of a sudden, over 3 minutes left on the clock. And the map is very winnable here. Very winnable. Psycho will be going Torb. No ults for Twisted Minds as we come into this final section of Eichenwald. The only one going will be Hattie's Flux. They'll meet him on the corner here. Quartz has full rail. This one does not connect. TP is a fake as they try and walk forward with a cardiac overdrive. SSG will disengage it. Now they want to walk back forward with it, but they've lost Astro. They're going to plow forward. Hattie is down to half HP. The Suzu has been forced, so a chance for Hattie to drop this Flux if he wants. Now he's going to go for it, but no! It's a whiff! Nobody's in the Flux. Twisted Minds can now push afterwards. Simwall and Kitsune Rush coming. Another cardiac overdrive around the corner. They're forced all the way back. Landon gets Crispy. Landon gets 2! Oh, it was looking fatal for SSG Nair, but Landon did everything for his team. Both picks crucial for him. And Twisted Minds will be repelled. It saves them for now, but the ult situation is just as dire this next time around. It's still Kitsune Rush. It's still Symbol they have to deal with. SSG want to hold forward so they can disengage one. They have to. They can't afford to take this fight on point. Twisted Minds will just cap. They have to try and hold forward. Force an ult out here. Oh, Psycho with a pick. Another pick. Unravels Twisted Minds' attempts. He'll be able to TP out and stabilize, but this buys more and more crucial time. And now, all of a sudden, Molten Core might just about be available for Psycho. Overclock available for Sparker. They're going to try and flip the map now. They rotate the other way. Cardiac Overdrive to go through. Suzu to get him through. Symbol as well. They're flipping the map. The Sim rotation is caught off guard. SSG have to chase. They don't quite have their ult yet. Psycho is desperate for this Molten Core. Hattie manages to grab it. Kitsune Rush comes out. They can't really disengage it. They need the Molten Core. Psycho's going to let rip. Crispy is low, but Kellen's TP to the high ground. He's going to run back out. They're still forcing the point. Hattie has to walk forward. They've managed to stabilize. Overclock now from Sparky. Finds Yubi. Beat back from Crispy, but Astro has it to match. Quartz looking for the finisher. He's going to get Flux. He's going to slide out. It should be enough. They can surely shut down Quartz here. SSG have weathered the storm. And those 2 picks bought them time to stabilize the ult economy. And Twisted Minds, they use so much. Maybe if Yubi had survived the beat, it would have been slightly different. Or survived to get the beat, I mean. Now just a Kellen Cage versus a Landon window. 30 seconds left on the clock. Only 10 meters in it. Twisted Minds have probably missed their best opportunity. Oh, but Quartz gets Sparker here. The walk-up will be free. SSG have to concede for space. They have to fight on the final corner. Kellen has this cage. Landon has the window. Hattie's holding out the choke. Kellen's low on health. Cardiac overdrive and cage. It only catches Hattie though. Window back. They try and TP it. Kellen's going to cancel the cage. They all go out. They trade 1 for 1. Vigilante nearly has this Kyriol. Crispy goes for the touch. No touch! Crispy went for the touch. He gets rocked out of the air. It's a C9. It's a C9 and SSG win. Just like that. It'll be a 2-0. Sparker will get player of the game. It'll have to be this overclock on first point, which should be a treat to see. Coming back for the clutch. 1 more for Spark. No problem. Quartz shut down as well. And now, SSG with the 2-0. SSG with the 2-0. We can take a look at the scoreboard from the game. But wow, what a save. What a save from SSG. They're in such a desperate situation, Eichenwald. They're in a desperate situation against Ataraxia and Eichenwald as well when SSG came out on top. They clutch it out ultimately. The C9 costs them everything. Without the Tracer, obviously it's a little bit harder. You saw Crispy make the move for it, but he was rocked out of the air. Then you saw Yubi and Quartz try and respond and get it instead, but just not in time. And it'll be 2-0. 2-0, yeah, we can take a look at the scoreboard here. So this is round 1. This is the Oasis. That was probably the most one-sided of the affairs. Just Gardens was close, but the rest was Really not. Don't know if there's too much to glean from this. Haddy probably with the most positive KD. Quartz slightly ahead on damage compared to Sparker. Some of that will be the nature of the matchup as well. Spark planning to die for 2 of those rounds. Versus Quartz always got a big old ram to shoot. We'll move on to Icon World. This one was neck and neck, right? This one was neck and neck. Really across the board. More deaths, I think, overall now on the side of SSG. Maybe the nature of it as well. Like the KDs are better for Twisted Minds. It felt like they had it. It felt like they had it, did it not? The rock is perfect from Haddy in the end. And it forces for C9. But Icon World, not often a straightforward one at all for the boys of SSG. But they keep on winning it, so you can't complain. Can't complain completely. Yeah, really, actually, Twisted Minds had a lot of advantage in a lot of these fights, and they weren't able to convert. That 3-minute time ban will haunt them, I think, on Icon World. It was theirs for the taking. It was theirs for the taking there at the end. And then just 2 fights. 2 fights where you really feel all it would have needed. Vigilante didn't get picked by the Torb. Just a few small things. A few small things go differently. Even if they get that touch in that last fight, right? That last fight was pretty winnable. Vigilante was about to have Kitsune Rush. If he got that Kitsune Rush, if Crispy was able to get the touch, if someone was able to get the touch, I mean, to be fair, it's probably actually Kellen's job to touch in that situation with where the card is. Really a little bit asking quite a lot, I think, for the Lucio there. But if they'd gotten that touch, that last fight was really winnable as well. SSG find the picks when they need it. They come out on top. And that probably means we have to pick a player of the match. It's probably Sparker, right? All those picks on Oasis were him. Some of the big clutches at the end. At the end of the first point one, particularly was Sparker as well. I think he went more than blow for blow with Quartz. Obviously, Quartz had a fantastic game. Finds himself on the wrong side of the scoreboard, though. But yeah, I think Spark. And it's a little bit weird because it really felt like Twisted Mind should have won that Icon World. Like, more fights went their way. Quartz was certainly the man of Icon World. In a weird way, I think it's probably either Quartz or Spark. Maybe Landon. Landon, I think, had a pretty solid game. That one big clutch with Window really saved him, right? Honestly, if it wasn't for that Landon window and that Psycho headshot onto Vigilante, they actually don't win. They actually don't win, I think, SSG. I think the ult situations were unsolvable. Without something like that, without some kind of clutch or a little bit of magic. But a bit of magic from Landon, exactly when his team needed it the most. But Spark, I think, across the board, so many opening picks on Oasis, so many crucial kills on Icon World as well. I think a fairly well-earned player of the match for Sparker. But it has to be said, Quartz was on fire as well, was he not? That Icon World, Quartz was really keen to take it to a map 3. And if it wasn't for a couple of those fights at the end, he would have done enough. I think also some of the other big moments from Spark. You remember that one when it was SSG's attack on second, and they were coming underneath, and it looked like Quartz was about to drop behind to hit SSG with another horrible pincer, and then Spark just shuts down Quartz before he can press overclock. Lots of important ones there. So, congratulations to SSG. They remain unbeaten. We can update the standings. And there will be one team at the top now, I believe. And their name is Spacestation Gaming. 9-0. And they're not done yet. This is a big day of FACEIT action. This is a big day of FACEIT action overall. If we take a look at all the upcoming games, you'll see that SSG have actually chosen to play a lot of their FACEIT games on this weekend. If I can go to upcoming, we can see... Where are they? I think we've got Arya next. Arya at 6 o'clock. We'll be watching the Quick Esports New Age one. And then, obviously, that ends SSG one later. So, SSG have passed the first test. You have to imagine they passed the yeah test. But the ENT test is still to come today. So stay tuned for that one. Stay tuned for that one. We'll answer a couple of quick questions. So I think this one from Sapur. Do you think the current SSG would beat TM in their previous form or iteration? So like the stage one Twisted Minds. I think yeah. I think it's hard to say for sure. Just because I mean, you saw how close that one was ultimately, but it was also a very different type of composition here. But I think this SSG is probably one of the highest level looking teams we've seen in EMEA so far since the end of Overwatch League. And then also from DDP Op, Uncoachable Superfan. Could TM not have gone Rhine? I feel like that matchup would be really good. I presume you mean especially when Haddy made the Sigma swap into the Malga. I mean, I think the Malga was fine, you know. I think the Sigma's better into the Malga, but it's not straightforward at all for SSG. So I was actually really fine they kept the Malga. I think Haddy was having just plenty of problems as well, or SSG as a whole having plenty of problems dealing with the Malga as well in those situations. I'm not sure if Rhine would have... I think Rhine would have also been a fine swap. I don't think it would have been the end of the world, but I think they were also fine in the matchup they had, and I think Kellen had Cage for a couple of those fights as well. I think it was on, but I think the Malga was also really fine. Really fine. People asking if I can get an interview. Let me see. Let me see if Chrissy is about. Here we go. Let me get the big man. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, map draft, straightforward today. It kind of felt like probably most teams, both of you wanted a lot of the same maps, really. So,
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know. Like for me, I wanted, to be honest, like I didn't like really want to play Oasis, but I also like we've only been scrimming the Dallas map, so I thought, fuck it, might as well play one that we've like played this week as opposed to one that like in theory is better. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe we should have done Samoa, to be honest.
well, yeah, I thought Samoa might have been on the cards just because it's one that Twisted Minds usually ban, right? So there's like a chance to take him to something that they're not
I
normally
just
as keen
figured
on.
we haven't scrimmed it in weeks, and maybe they have. That was the logic. But
Yeah.
to be honest, it was probably actually when I think about it, I think I actually kind of should have picked it.
I mean, you say that, but actually, really, most of Oasis was actually pretty one-sided, except for the Gardens, right? Like the Venture pick, the Tour pick, both worked out. So
True.
we saw Naga do that for Peps yesterday. So there's so the question is, did you copy Peps or did Peps copy you?
I mean, we haven't played Peps in fucking years. It's too
Just
unrelated topics.
just two different research departments coming to the same conclusion on the same map at the same time. And then the Torb is obviously, I guess technically like is for comp that Falcons and M82 as well, right? It's like the Diva comp, just with a Ram instead. Kind of looks like you played it basically the same way, just in terms of stand by the cars. Get my guy on point.
Dink the right people.
Yeah, well, Spark's certainly obliged to that side of things.
He was doing the dinking today.
And then Eichenwald. Actually, maybe some problems, right? Like first point, maybe the ball didn't cause you wouldn't have any problems, but the second point attack, always a problem point for like a ground-based comp.
Yeah, I mean, I think actually the ball won them the game because I think it made us swap Ryan and then gave us 80% shatter and baited it onto us for fucking ages. Like actually, I think next time we should probably swap on 80% because the Ram is like way better against the Winston than the Ryan.
And then the defense is back and forth. Like first point, super competitive, right? Like Quartz really gives you a hard time, but Spark matches him pretty well. And then once we get to third point, it actually looks like it's over for you in terms of like the ult situation, right? You've got like no ults and they've got like Kitsune Rush and Simwall coming up. And then Landon kills, well, he kills one person before window, then one-shot someone with window. And then you have 0 ults, and then Psycho just dinks Vigilante before the fight, and it just about buys you enough time to get your ults up. You feel maybe an element of good fortune to get yourself through that icon world?
I would say that's the case. Yeah, I would say. Fucking lucky.
And then you nearly even get caught by a TP flip as well, like actually a very classic London TP flip with a sim wall to nearly put you in a right pickle.
Yeah, well, yeah, I feel like the flip actually worked against them because I'm not sure they like. We can kind of like touch the point and then keep distance. I think they would be better off like they need to get in a little bit more, you know. But yeah.
It was probably because the cart was if a payload was like 5 meters ahead of where it was, maybe it gets really ropey. Like because it's on that corner, you can actually just take a corner fight, and then it's kind of just a fight, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, unbeaten at the top, and then I think you're actually going to get a forfeit in your next game as word on the street.
Yeah, that is the same word that we've just received from the streets. So we now have like a massive fucking break. So if any team in the Twitch chat has a really good team that wants to scrim for a few hours, we're down.
We're on 2-minute delay, but I'm sure you'll get a scrim of at least like top diamond quality.
Wait, maybe I can get a pep scrim. Let me do that.
Yeah, Peps aren't playing. I think Ataraxia are playing, TM are playing again, Quick are playing, New Age are playing, Rock are playing, Super Shy not playing till 7.
Oh wait, I'm so fucking dumb. We literally had a pep scrim for this time and it was cancelled. So I'm guessing they can't scrim.
Yeah, it's kind of the equivalent of like a Jehovah's Witness getting turned away, then turning up like 2 hours later to see if you've changed their mind about, what about now, huh?
Yeah, haven't, unfortunately.
So long break and then the Ents game.
Yeah.
So what are the expectations? Because I think you're now ahead in the standings. You've put space between it. But if Ents were to win, they'd tie you on like a 9-1 record.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be a dogfight.
Yeah, a dogfight. That's the expectation. I feel like the last word on the street from Uncoachable, available now on all good platforms.
Yeah, for sure.
Was that Ents are actually maybe the top dog at the moment, or doing very well in scrims?
Yeah, let's see. You know, let's see. Maybe there's a draft gap to be had. You know what Crimso's like. The guy doesn't know how to draft.
Well, I feel like what's happened now is because once you do something particularly poorly and everyone talks about it for a while, you actually then have to like overcompensate, right? And everything has to be perfect and well thought out from there on, you know? So I think it's like this failure has put him in more of a drafting mindset.
Well, let's see. I'm willing to go to the table with him and get into a draft off.
Well, in theory, it should be easier for you, right? Because you're not locked into a Vestler-based world.
No, it's true. Well, yeah, let's see. No, not giving anything away just yet.
Saving it for the big one. All right, we're getting some of these scrim requests. You've got a 3.41.
Yeah. Highest offer.
We've got Nicholas Latifi, who are actually relegated out of expert yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not technically, but they're now, I think, in a real relegation risk. Did you see? I was gonna say, did you see Crazy Raccoon were touchdown today?
Unbelievable. Wish I could be so rich as these Japanese orgs. Dude, I saw one of the comments on Uncoachable is like, "Oh, Chris crying that the system favors the Koreans." Like, come on, bro. Like, please understand like one little bit of sarcasm, you know? Like, come on. Like, I say it with this like shit-eating grinning on my face. Like, come on. Like, and I saw someone flaming fucking Ents because we flamed Falcons. Classic Korean fans, dude. Classic. Take a joke, guys. Take a joke. I dare you. Take a joke challenge impossible.
Well,
Anyway.
you also know if this was football or any kind of traditional sport as well, you'd get all sorts of accusations. Now, none of these Korean team fans have any sort of local roots in Korea to they're not their local homegrown team, you know.
Well, there's a conversation to be had about that. I've been thinking about that very same thing in my head, but I feel like it's too controversial for me to say on your stream, so I'll just leave it at that. Don't worry, mate. I'm not getting you in trouble.
What I guess like the safer version is like glory hunting, right? Like, oh yeah, I love all these guys on this Atlanta Reign team. I just really gel with them, you know. I really just feel like me and them would get on great, you know. Oh, it helps that they happen to be winning all the games and dominating everyone, but it's just a coincidence, you know. I would have vibed with them just the same way, whether or not they were the top team.
Yeah, maybe it's that.
Well, you see it with everything, right? How many Real Madrid fans are there?
No, it's true. It's true.
More people than maybe live in Madrid.
I would say so. I mean, we're Man United fans, so.
We're also Man United fans, where one of us is from Kent and one of us is from Newcastle.
Yes, that. Hey, glory seekers, though. Discuss them. Fine.
Hey, I'm half Mancunian. Surely that's enough, right? 50%? 50%
Yeah,
Mancunian?
To be fair, it probably is.
I think that gives me the pass.
Whose game are you spectating next? Ours? Because it's not on.
No, I'm going to do... So the plan is I'm going to do New Age versus Celtas. Is that right? Am I telling a lie? No, New Age versus Quick, sorry. Because they're tied up in joint 8th place. So, like, Celtas, New Age, and Quick, and Super Shy as well are kind of in this, like, battle to actually get into the top 8, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Sovereigns as well, because they've sort of, like... I think they lost to Celtas the other day, and they had to forfeit one of their games as well. So the Sovereigns are actually, like, crashing a little bit. So there's, like, going to be a bit of a dogfight for the 8th place here. And then I'm going to do R8 versus Ents, which I'd kind of just expect Ents to win, but I feel like the R8 games are always interesting because you always get, like, a bit of variety in it, you know? They won't just go down playing the same thing. And then obviously your game, which should be a good game, I reckon.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, then I think I'm probably just going to watch, I don't know if you watched them, the, like, leaked scrim codes in the sort of, like, filler for the downtime.
I feel, yeah, I saw them.
Yeah, I've watched all of them except for the Midtown, which I expect will be a bat brig mirror or something out of tradition.
Yeah, technically kind of a little bit.
Well, that sounds like... Well, I guess if I was to pick one team that wouldn't opt into the bat brig mirror, it might be the Hangzhou Spark. So maybe we'll get some variety.
All right.
All right, I'll let you go then.
You go watch that one. Let me know what you think. Like, what Rush has got cooking.
Yeah, well, so far the ones I've watched, Queen Kiri Lucio into Ball, not a fan. I mean, you know, I guess obviously the counter argument Rush would make to this is, what have you guys ever won on Queen, right? So fair.
True.
What have we won on Queen? Nothing. No titles on Queen.
He can't even talk to his team anymore, so he can't even dad coach them. I don't understand how Rush got the job. They don't speak the same language.
Well, weren't Spark always an English-speaking team in comms? Because they had, like, Chinese-Korean mix for, like,
these guys,
historically.
Trust me, these guys don't speak English, okay?
Well, the problem is Rush doesn't speak English, yeah, so it's just another language they might know a bit of that Rush also doesn't know. So, yeah, they kind of cooks any of the ways.
You've got good vibes, though.
Well, the thing is, aren't vibes truly international? Do you need to speak the same language of someone to...
Aura translates.
Exactly. Aura translates. Right. All right, I'll let you go, and I'll see you. Well, I'll see your team in the lobby later.
All right, sounds good. See you later, mate.
See ya. All right, nice of Chris to hop in. Nice of Chris to hop in. A few tangents, as you would expect, right? As you would expect. So, thank you everyone for watching this game. This will be the end of a YouTube recording now. So I'll see you in the next one if you're leaving us on YouTube.